Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I have a special topic. I did remember mentioning that I will start some scientific topic in my channel. And without further ado, here it goes. My first scientific topic to talk about is I like to research stuff about climate and things like that. I want to talk about La Nina, and a lot of you have no idea what that is. I just bet you have no idea what the heck a La Nina is. You'd be like, oh, yeah, it's Spanish for the girl, right? But what really is it? What actually happens in the Pacific and then with the equatorial Pacific regions when La Nina actually hits? What actually happens in that Pacific region? I'm going to explain. So first, let's start off with El Nino. El Nino is the warming of the Pacific equatorial regions, and La Nina, in a nutshell, basically this is what ENSO is the cooling of the equatorial Pacific region. However, both of these have adverse effects, with El Nino actually impacting the world globally. We've actually just been through one of those super El Ninos, only second to 98, 97, of course. Though this one is actually fall second, although it's a bit conspicuous, being that they actually peak at 3.0 degrees Celsius, and they actually have it written down as 2.1 degrees Celsius. That's a bit inconspicuous in any sense, but moving on. So now we are faced with one thing. El Nino is 75% likely to become La Nina by fall or winter, according to NOAA. So what this basically means is that there's a possibility, there's a likelihood, and it looks like it's already starting to happen, that La Nina will take over in the summer. What does that mean? You have a La Nina summer. There's a bigger possibility that the southern parts of the country going to the western parts of the country, the US, will have a warmer than average summer, as the eastern parts of the country mostly likely are going to be under equal chances. And the reason I say this is because instead of going by NOAA's outlook, which every year practically has a northeastern warm weather, even during the winter months, which technically is not true except for this year, because remember the year before this, we had, before the Super El Nino, we had La Nina, and they were predicting a warm winter, the year 10-11, because it was actually a strong La Nina, believe it or not. It just fell second to, ones that took place in the 80s. I think it fell to second to the one in 1988. The 10-11 one, but it was a strong La Nina nonetheless. And they were predicting a warm winter, and they did the same thing consecutively going into 11-12. 12, we had a warm winter. Then 13-14, they tried to do the same thing, and 13-14, if not, was one of the coldest anomalous winters ever experienced in the Northeast. Now, La Nina, what does it do? Cooler than average conditions in the Pacific Northwest. Those cooler than average conditions carry on into the northern plains, the Great Lakes region, going into the Northeast region. The warmer than average conditions are actually relegated mostly to the south and going into the Southwest Pacific region. Now, as of right now, there's been a huge decline in the warm waters of the ENSO region. If you actually take a look, you actually research it right now, and you put current ENSO readings for May 2016, you will look for one that says, click on one that says 1 day ago. Click on it and you see blue or cooler than average waters is going across. I wish I had a projector of some sort to show you, but I don't have that right now. But eventually this television will be in use and you guys will be able to see what I mean exactly. I'm able to circle things through my tablet and the circulation will pop up over here on the screen eventually, but for now just bear with me. So here we go, and I'm gonna give you a brief, reading of what actually went on, generally specifically speaking, this year in the ENSO region. So the current rapidly weakening El Nino is expected to vanish altogether by summer and has a 75% chance of being replaced by its opposite, La Nina. During fall and winter, according to an update NOAA has posted recently, El Nino, La Nina, the periodic warming and cooling of the equatorial Pacific, Eastern, and Central Pacific Ocean, can shift weather patterns over a period of months. This transition only happens during the summer months, where you can switch from El Nino to La Nina, not to neutral conditions only. But during the duration of the autumn, winter, and spring, it will weaken. But remember, La Nina has a tendency to last for 3 years or more. We only had one La Nina that pretty much came and left just like that. However, this La Nina is expected to last 3 years just like any other La Nina would. So basically, in all, expect a cold winter in the eastern parts of the country, in a nutshell, pretty much, because if it's the opposite, then why the heck would La Nina bring cool, warmer than average conditions to the entire country? The only reason why the year 2012 was warmer than average is because most likely the NAO was probably positive, and so was the AO and the PDO, which means there wasn't much cold air entering that area. However, we did get cold blasts. When January came by, we did get cold blasts of air because that means we were nearly neutral to slightly positive neutral in the NAO phase. And we got some blasts of cold air, but no snow basically that year. So, bringing the possibility of more sustained warm, cold, wet, or dry weather in parts of the world, after trying the record for the strongest El Nino as defined by 3-month running mean surface temperatures, anomaly in the so-called Niña 3.4 region of the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean, sea surface temperatures have accelerated their cooling phase since early February. This is something I typed myself actually. When El Nino came, I started monitoring it. So basically, this is file 1 for La Niña. I have like over 11 files for El Nino, but I will explain that in a different, video altogether because it's going to be a multiple part video. It's not going to be one single video. If not, it might just become one single video. After trying the record of the strongest El Nino as defined by 3-month February since February, right? So El Nino 15-16 ties a record, right? So weekly Niña 3.4 region sea surface temperatures anomalies are as said, and this is recorded Celsius above the 1981-2010 average base period, anywhere from the 5th of August to the 4th of May 2016. So weekly sea surface temperatures ST anomalies peaked the week of November 18th at 3.1 degrees Celsius above average and have now dropped to 0.8 degrees Celsius above average as of weekly of May 4. Those are values last seen in April 2015, and it dropped by half of what was seen in mid to late March, according to NOAA's Climate Prediction Center. So basically, the 0.8 they just put up for May 9th was actually recorded on April. So we really don't have the reading yet for May as of right now. Because as my article suggests with much research, mind you, because I didn't just bring it. Mind you, I mentioned I was going to bring science to you guys, and I brought it now after a year. So basically, there was research in this. I didn't just put it up there and just say, look, 0.8 degrees Celsius, and just wrote it there. No. So you can see so basically in the recent sea surface temperature anomalies, if you go to the Weather Channel, actually, they have this awesome graphic of the globe. And if you look at it, you can see the El Nino clearly in red. It sticks out like a thumb, literally, and then you look at April 2016, you start to see whites pop in the area where the darker red shadings used to be. And of course, right now, the maximum depth of the cooler waters that's dredging up to prime the atmosphere for La Nina is basically 200 feet below sea level in the Pacific Ocean, which means it's rising and quick, right? So NOAA's May El Nino outlook suggests that El Nino may vanish by early summer. In fact, the large majority of the model forecast suggests the equatorial waters may become colder than average by the early summer, swinging into La Nina as early as this fall. A few El Sembo forecasts even has a strong La Nina forecasting by late summer or fall. Right now, we only see weak to moderate right now, or moderate La Nina just straight on the head. We don't see anything super strong or super La Nina as of yet. Before we were thinking that, but that changed when the CFS did that drop to minus 4.2 degrees Celsius and did that bounce back to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So if you actually search up NMME forecast for Niña 3.4 scaling IC, just the NMME forecast for Niña 3.4 scaling, you will get the new current model trend for that, which is called the ensemble, by the way. So both NOAA's Climate Prediction Center and Australia's Bureau of Meteorology issued a La Nina watch indicating La Nina may develop within the next 6 months. In other words, if you live in the Caribbean and Florida, you need to be alert because this is going to affect your hurricane season. How? An active hurricane season. In other words, you should be preparing right now because let me tell you a little secret. That's not a secret. The Pacific Ocean hurricane season just started yesterday and you're already looking at an area of interest. 20% chance of developing, which means you, just watching this video, you live in Florida, you should be thinking of a plan right now to get prepared in case you wake up the next morning and they say, we see a tropical storm or tropical wave coming out of Africa, and we'll keep you posted on this developing story. Because it's the last thing you want to hear right tomorrow, especially. Because especially you don't have any plans in motion. You want to have a plan in motion because you don't want to be that person who says, I'm going to ride out the storm. Knowing if it was a Category 3 hurricane, you won't be able to ride it out. Most likely you probably die trying to do so. So hopefully you're not one of those people who are planning to do that unless you're an expert storm chaser or something. When you're a storm chaser, evacuation is key. So moving on. So NOAA's CPC places the odds of La Nina continuation by late summer at over 60%. which means 75%, increasing it to over 70% like here by late fall. Now, here's my issue. What I just read to you is what I found in the research. It says that 75% for early summer, right? And it says 75% for fall. You can't have 75% in both ends of the spectrum. If it went up 75% for early summer, it should go up as well to at least 85% for the fall and at least 90% for the winter. That's what it should look like. There's no reason for it to be all sitting at 75% for any cause or any reason whatsoever. So let's keep moving and let's keep going. So El Niño and La Niña events typically only last from 9 to 12 months and typically occur again every 2 to 7 years, according to Columbia University's International Research Institute for Climate and Society. So one thing they do not tell you, Colorado's Research Institute, is that La Niña can last 3 years. Besides the 6 to 12 months I just mentioned, or the 9 to 12 months I just mentioned, La Niña can last up to 3 years. That's what they do not tell you here. And El Niño can reoccur, but it's highly unlikely, being that the warm waters have to recharge again. And it's even true, I'm looking at the depth of waters, there's another blob of cold water actually building about 500 to 700 feet in the Pacific below the equatorial region. There's another blob forming. It's actually kind of coming in more so from the right of the eastern Pacific Ocean is building towards west. And the one at the top is building from the west to east. It's now drifting up in the eastern parts of the Pacific, and not just in the eastern parts of the Pacific, in the central, 30 and 3.2 is now there too. So flip-flops from a strong El Niño to La Niña are not unusual. Following the record strong El Niño 97-90, La Niña almost immediately set in the following summer, reaching moderate to strong intensity before finally ending in spring 2001. So check that out. Check that out. So basically 98 was the last year people saw El Nino, 97-98, right? Or 97-98. And it formed almost immediately in the summer. And then basically from the end of 98 all the way to 2001, count 98, 99. But we talk about 3 whole years, it'll be 99, 2000, 2001. Those are 3 whole years right there. But it formed year 98. So basically it's basically 3 years and a half it lasts. So basically I'm expecting it to form the half of this year, right? The half of this year, La Niña, and then it will continue 2016, 2017, 2018, after diminishing year 2019. So actually it's 4 years, it's 3 full years and a half in reality, and a half of the 4th year. So summer 2016, there are some broad trends that have shown up in past weakening El Nino events that could give a hint on what to expect this summer. If we look at the rapidly decaying ENSO events that trended in the past, instead of actual values, we see that the summer heat is centered in the northern plains in the Great Lakes states. And Dr. Todd Crawford, chief meteorologist at the Weather Channel's company Energy Division, of course, puts out this temperature outlook, and it goes like this. Above average temperatures for basically central California, going up to the Pacific Northwest, northern plains, the Great Lakes, and northeastern regions in the mid-Atlantic. Now, here's the issue I have with this. This is sort of like El Nino, not like La Nina. So I guarantee you that when they get to June, and La Nina is actually, they're going to have to change this entire thing. Because you have dark orange at the top, the lighter yellow in the south, and then you have this one blotch of blue right in the south of Texas. Yeah. That's not happening, especially in the Northeast is hot. Most likely that part of Texas will be hot as well. So the Atlantic hurricane season 2016, what to expect? So strengthening El Niños during the Atlantic hurricane season tends to yield stronger wind shear, which tends to either tear apart developing or mature tropical cyclones. And La Niña does the opposite, it allows them to develop. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today for this knowledgeable scientific climatological insight on La Nina and what its effects are, and have a great day.